Hey guys, what's going on? It's Polar Shredder here. I'm starting my new career mode with Saint Etienne, French League One side. A lot of potential in this side, a few established players, but the general mould of the team needs changing as the established players are older. So we're just going to run through the squad and I'll show you who we're going to rely on heavily through this season, who's got to go probably in the next transfer period, and who's going to be our future prospects. So we'll just start with the goalkeepers. We've got Ruffier. He's our star player, 83 rated, 28 years old. So hopefully he'll fetch a decent price when we get him to uh, most clean sheets in the league. Hopefully at the end of the year we can get a sum around 40 million euros, something like that. We've got Jesse Moulin. He's got to go. 29 years old, 66. There's no reason to think he'll improve at all. Masonial, 17 years old. With the weekly trainings, we should be able to get him up pretty quickly. There's somewhere around the mid 60s by the end of the year. Got a few right backs. Catherine's going to be our starting right back. Bit of pace, well rounded, specifically in his defending stats, which you need to hold down the right back position. Young players to back him up, and then Clerk, who at 32 years old needs to leave as well. He's decent, well rounded in his technical stats, but not quite the pace he won in the team. A lot of the centre backs are where you'll find more of our established players. So Sal Perrin, other star player, 82 rated. Hopefully someone will be interested in him. But until then, we've got a nice star centre back to command the defence. Pogba and Sal will be his left and right hand men. A few more base, who I think is a loanee player. No, he's out on loan. So if Perrin leaves, at least we'll have a base backing him up once he's left the team. Okotto, former Tottenham player, recently transferred here, so we're going to have to wait at least half a season before we can move him on, as he's 31 years old. So you'd have to think retiring is in the near future. Polomat, he's going to be our left back for years to come. Only really the defensive stats stand out. He's not a free kick specialist or anything like that. We've got De Koke, so he might have to get moved on. 59 is pretty low rated for a 22-year-old. Another old player, Brisson, 32 years old. I think what you'll find, and what I've noticed already, is that most of the role players in Saint Etienne are in the late 20s to early 30s. So there's going to be a lot of changeover in the first few transfer periods. And you'll probably recognize some of these names if you're if you're familiar with this league and you watch it quite often. And you'll know Saint Etienne is generally a powerhouse in the league. They're always challenging for the title, so if they're not right up the top, they're always going to be playing for Euro League and Championship League spots. Muma, he's not as high rated as Ruffier and Perrin, but he's definitely a star. You look at all those stats, he's a crossing specialist, a long shot specialist. He can take penalties, he can take free kicks. He's just as good as a striker with 80 finishing and curve as well. So finesse will be a great asset when we're cutting in from the right wing. And you've got more senior players like Lemoyne through the central midfield. Few prospects. Vincent Payot, he's a recent transfer from Stade Rennais. Then you got Cohard, another elder in the team. You'll find with Saint Etienne that they're quite deep in the wide position, specifically on the left side. They've recently had a few transfers leave the club as well. Tabanu, who was one one of my favourite players because he's the most well-rounded left back that I'd seen coming out of France, and he's now at Swansea City in the Premier League, which I've also started a career mode with, but that's a more free play one that I have completed a few seasons in already. You find they've actually been quite active in the striker role. They've brought in Neil Maupay from Nice. He's 70 rated at 18 years old, 77 finishing. So I think he's got a potential of mid 80s. So you'd like to see him get to high 80s in finishing. The penalties might grow as another strong stat, but we'll have to wait and see. Nolan Roux come from Lille, another one of my favourite French teams. I've done career modes with them in past years. Never posted to my channels. This is my first career mode that I've posted to the channel. Barbeck, he's a loanee from PSG. Eric, I think he's another recently bought player. Yep. I've got quite a few strikers on this list. Jonathan Bamba, another prospect, 71 finishing, so he's not that far off from Maupay. You'd think if he was 70 rated, he'd have quite similar stats apart from maybe the pace. His acceleration isn't quite as good, but he's got the same speed. And you only have Johan Moller, who seems to have taken a dip in ratings as your last elder statesman in the team, and he's not even with the club at the moment. So that's going to do it for the club and who we have to work with. It looks like we're going to be pretty thin through defence. We're only going to have three candidates to really rely on, and because it's the first season, we don't have Champions League games, so we don't have to worry too much about that. So they'll get a lot of games, a lot of growth for the older players, which seems to be more common in this FIFA and FIFA 15, where older players will actually grow even in the late 20s to early 30s, as in previous FIFAs you'd see them take a nosedive really quickly once they hit to that kind of age. So I will get back to you guys with another video on who we're going to target in the transfer window. I've got an idea of sticking to certain nationalities to bring in a team, sort of create a culture. So if you have any opinions on that or anything else I can do with the career mode, who you'd like to see brought in, what you think of me in general as a YouTuber and how I can improve, let me know, and hopefully we can take Saint Etienne to the top of the league and challenge teams such as Lyon, Marseille and PSG, who are going to be our main competition. And I'll catch you guys in a later video.